Welcome. In previous session, strain energy problems is solving. So in today's session, problems on strain energy remaining problems will be continued in this class. So coming to the strain energy problem. So last and final problem in the strain energy concept is a steel bar 2 centimeters in diameter and length 2.5 meters is provided with a stopper at lower end. So here a steel bar is given. So a steel bar is of diameter 22 centimeters and the length of the steel bar is 2.5 meters. So that is provided with a stopper at lower end. So here a stopper is provided at the lower end. Find greatest load that can be dropped on stopper from a height of 10 centimeters. So what we have to find out? Greatest load so that can be dropped on stopper. So from a height of 10 centimeters. So from a height of 10 centimeters, what will be the greatest load that can be dropped on the stopper? We have to find out. So that is the first condition. So coming to the second one, maximum height from which a weight of 5000 Newton can be dropped. So second one is maximum height from which a weight of 5000 Newton can be dropped. So when a 5000 Newton weight can be dropped, at what maximum height will be the height? So that is the second condition. So we have to find out the greatest load and maximum height. Then given E equal to 2.06 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square and the elastic limit stress nothing but F that equal to 330 Newton per mm square should not be exceeded. So this is the given problem. Here a stopper is provided at the lower end and a steel bar of 2 centimeters in diameter and length of the bar is 2.5 meters. So here E equal to 2.06 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square and elastic limit stress nothing but F equal to 330 Newton per mm square. So greatest load that can be dropped on the stopper from a height of 10 centimeters we have to find out, and maximum height from which a weight of 5000 Newton can be dropped, that is the second condition. So two conditions we have to find out. So coming to the solution, diameter of the bar D equal to 2 centimeters that equal to 20 mm. So by knowing the diameter of the bar we have to find out the cross sectional area. Therefore cross sectional area A equal to pi d square by 4 that equal to pi into d that is 20 whole square divided by 4 that equal to 314.16 mm square. So that is the cross sectional area. So case A nothing but case 1. Let P be the maximum load that can be dropped on the stopper and delta L be the corresponding extension. That is, so say P equal to the maximum height and delta L be the corresponding extension. So formula for the delta L that equal to F by E into L. So F is nothing but P by A. So that is F value is 330. So divided by E is 2.06 into 10 power 5 into L. So L value is 2.5 into 10 power 3. So here 2.5 is nothing but length and 10 power 3 in case of conversion of the mm. So that equal to delta L. After calculating and substituting the F, E and L values, the delta L value is 4.004 mm. So that is the delta L. Next, work done by the load. So here a dropping nothing but an impact load is applied. So that's why work done by the load that equal to P into H plus DL. So here H equal to 10 centimeters nothing but 100 mm plus delta L value is 4.004 mm. So that's why so after calculating the work done by the load is in terms of P that equal to 104.004 into P, that is the work done by the load. So here strain energy of the bar So strain energy of the bar U equal to F square by 2E into volume of the bar. So here F equal to 330 whole square divided by 2 into E. E is nothing but 2.06 into 10 power 5 into volume of the bar, nothing but area into length. Here area equal to 314.16 into L. L is nothing but 2.5 into 10 power 3. So after calculating the strain energy value is 207,597 Newton mm. So 207,597 Newton mm, that equal to 0.207 kilonewton meter. So that is the strain energy stored in the body. But we know that work done equal to strain energy. So work done value is 104.004 into P, that equal to strain energy is 20756 or 59. Then P equal to 2000 Newton, that equal to 2 kilonewton. So that is the load, the greatest load that can be dropped on a stopper is 2 kilonewton. So case B, or nothing but second case, let H be the maximum height from which 5000 Newton load can be dropped. So in this case also instantaneous stress F equal to 330 Newton per mm square and delta L equal to 4.005 mm. So next, work done by the load, that equal to P into H plus DL. So P value is 5000 into H value is the unknown value plus delta L is nothing but 4.005. So equating the work done equal to strain energy. So work done equal to 5000 into H plus 4.005, that equal to 207,597. So 5000 into H plus 5000 into 4.005, nothing but 20025, that equal to 207,597. So 5000 H equal to 207,597 minus 2000, that equal to H equal to 37.51 mm. So that equal to 37.51 mm. So that is the maximum height from which 500 Newton load can be dropped, that is 37.51 mm, and maximum load that can dropped on the stopper is nothing but 2 kilonewton. So this is the sixth problem. So strain energy problems is completed. So here one problem is there for the temperature stresses. So that is the extra problem. So dia of the rod 10, 11. Here, so the given problem is, following are the details of the composite member formed by enclosing a copper rod in a steel tube. Here a composite member is given which is enclosing by a copper rod into a steel tube. So here steel tube is the outer side material and a copper rod is enclosed in the steel tube. So that is the composite material. So dia of the copper rod that equal to 36 mm and internal dia of steel tube that equal to 40 mm and external dia of steel tube that equal to 50 mm. E for steel, nothing but ES, Young's modulus that equal to 200 GPa. E for copper, nothing but EC equal to 110 GPa. Alpha for steel, nothing but alpha S equal to 12 into 10 power minus 6 per degree centigrade. And alpha for copper, alpha C equal to 16 into 10 power minus 6 per degree centigrade. So calculate the stresses developed in each material if the combination is heated through 30 degrees centigrade. So the given data is dia of the rod, internal dia of steel tube and external dia of steel tube, ES, EC, alpha S, alpha C. So calculate the stresses in each material. So nothing but stresses Fs and Fc values we have to find out. So if the combination is heated through 30 degrees centigrade, so here the temperature is mentioned. So when it is heated at the 30 degrees centigrade, so what will be the stresses developed in the each material we have to find out. So given dia of the copper rod D equal to 36 mm. So by knowing the diameter of the rod we have to find out the area of the copper rod. Area AC equal to pi d square by 4 that equal to pi into 36 whole square by 4 that equal to 1017.8 mm square. So internal dia of steel ds equal to 40 mm and external dia of the steel capital DS equal to 50 mm. So after by knowing the external diameter and internal diameter we have to find out the area of the steel tube. So AS equal to pi into capital DS square minus small ds square by 4 that equal to pi by 4 into 50 whole square minus 40 whole square that equal to 706.85 mm square. So 706.85 mm square. So 706.85 mm square. Next ES equal to 200 GPa. So here E value is in the GPa form, nothing but gigapascals. So it is converted into Newton per mm square, that is 200 into gigapascal ante 10 power 9 Newton per meter square ante 1 kilonewton equal to 1 kilonewton per mm square equal to 1 pascal. That's why 200 into 10 power 9 divided by 10 power 6 in case of conversion of Newton to mm square, that equal to 10 power 6 gets cancelled. So here 200 into 10 power 3 value is given. That's why 0.2 into 10 power 6 Newton per mm square. So this is the ES value. So here EC equal to 110 GPa, nothing but 0.11 into 10 power 6 Newton per mm square. So that is the ES and EC values. So alpha S equal to 12 into 10 power minus 6 per degree centigrade and alpha C equal to 16 into 10 power minus 6 per degree centigrade. T equal to 30 degrees centigrade. Change in length due to temperature in steel. So change in length and temperature due to steel is delta LS equal to L alpha into T. So here alpha is nothing but alpha S, so which is related to the steel tube. So change in length due to temperature in copper. So change in length is nothing but delta LC that equal to L alpha C into T. So delta LS equal to LS into Fs by Es. So we know the formula for the delta L. So here the formula is F by E into L. So that is FL by E. So which is related to the steel. That's why substituting the S value, S suffixes to the formula. So delta LS equal to Fs by Es into Ls. Coming to the copper rod, delta Lc equal to Fc by Ec So Fc by Ec into Lc. So equating the L delta Lc plus delta Ls values. So delta Lc equal to L alpha C into T and delta Ls equal to L alpha S into T. So delta Ls value is Fs by Es into Ls plus delta Lc equal to Fc Lc by Ec, that equal to, here Lt is the common term. So Lt, separating the Lt values. So Lt into alpha C minus alpha S. So here in first term alpha C value is the only single value and alpha S is the another term. So Lc equal to Ls equal to L, that equal to change throughout the length L value is common. That's why Lc equal to Ls equal to L. Lc Ls equal to L. That's why separating the L values. So L both sides on L values gets cancelled. So in first term Fc by Ec. So in numerator Fc, denominator Ec plus Fs by Es. It is in the fraction form, that equal to T into alpha C minus alpha S. So Fc by Ec plus Fs by Es equal to T into alpha C minus alpha S. So here Ec and Es values we know the values, and alpha C and alpha S values also the known values. That's why substituting the Es, Ec values and alpha C and alpha S values. So Fc by 0.11 into 10 power 6 plus Fs by 0.2 into 10 power 6, that equal to T equal to 30 degrees into alpha C. So alpha C is 16 into 10 power minus 6 minus 12 into 10 power minus 6. So here 1 by 10 power 6 is the common term. So on both sides 1 by 10 power 6 value gets cancelled. So remaining terms is Fc by 0.11 plus Fs by 0.2, that equal to 30 into 16 minus 12. So 16 minus 12, nothing but Fc by 0.11 plus Fs by 0.2 equal to 120. So here the LCM value is 0.022. So in 0.11 is multiplied by 0.2 times in 0.022. So that's why 0.2 into Fc plus in 0.2 0.022 0.2 is multiplied by 0.11 into Fs. So 0.2 into Fc plus 0.11 into Fs by 0.022 equal to 120. So 0.2 into Fc plus 0.11 into Fs equal to 0.022 into 120. So multiplying the 0.022 into 120, so then 0.2 into Fc plus 0.11 into Fs equal to 2.64. So that is the equation 1. So equating the copper and steel loads. So load by copper equal to load by steel, nothing but Pc equal to Ps. So here PC equal to we know the stress F equal to P by A. So then P equal to F into A. So substituting the FA, nothing but which is related to the steel, that is Fs into As, and which is related to the copper is Fc into Ac. So here Ac and As values are the known values. So Fc into 1017.8 equal to Fs into 706.85. So Fc by Fs equal to 706.85 by 1017.8. By dividing the values, both values, so Fc by Fs equal to 0.6944. So Fc in terms of Fs is 0.6944. so Fc equal to 0.6944 into Fs. So that is the equation 2. So substituting the equation 2 in the equation 1, so 0.2 into 0.06944 into Fs plus 0.11 into Fs equal to 2.64. So then multiplying the values, 0.138 into Fs plus 0.11 into Fs equal to 2.64. So adding both the values, so 0.248 Fs equal to 2.64. So Fs equal to 2.64 divided by 0.248. Fs equal to 10.60 Newton per mm square. So substituting the Fs values in terms of Fc. So Fc equal to Fc equal to 0.6944 into 10.60. So Fc equal to 7.36 Newton per mm square. Therefore, so temperature stresses developed in steel when temperature is raised to 30 degrees is 30 degrees centigrade is 1061 Newton per mm square. So temperature stress developed in copper when temperature is raised to 30 degrees centigrade is 7.36 Newton per mm square. So this is the final result values in case of temperature stresses which is raised at 30 degrees centigrade. So this is the temperature stresses problem. So coming to the mechanical properties of a material. So this is the last and final topic in this chapter. So what is the mechanical properties of materials? So here some of the properties. So here some of the properties possesses for each material. So the mechanical properties in case of engineering point of view, that is elasticity, plasticity, ductility, stiffness, brittleness, malleability, hardness, toughness, creep, fatigue. So here 10 properties is there. So in engineering point of view, so each material possesses some properties. So every property is a very important property for each material. So what is meant by elasticity? So define elasticity. It is the property by which a material changes its shape when it is applied, when load is applied, and will regain its original shape when load is removed. So here it is a property for a material. So when it changes, when load is applied, it will changes. When it starts changing at the particular limit, it will regain its original position when load is removed up to the certain limit. So that is nothing but elasticity. So elasticity of a material. So elasticity is measured by a term called as Young's modulus or modulus of elasticity. So here elasticity is nothing but modulus of elasticity or Young's modulus. So units for elasticity. So units for elasticity is Newton per mm square. So that is the Newton per mm square or kilonewton per mm square. So example for the elasticity property is material like rubber and steel, mild steel, copper, aluminium, etc. may be considered to be perfectly elastic within certain limits. So rubber and steel material possesses elastic limit up to the certain limit, and mild steel also possesses elastic limit up to the certain limit. Copper material also produces the elasticity, and also aluminium also produces the elasticity. So this is the elasticity. So here a material which changes in shape when load is applied, and when load is removed it will regain its original shape up to the certain limit. So that is nothing but elasticity. So coming to the plasticity. So plasticity is, it is the property by which a material is not able to regain its original shape when load is removed. So this is opposite to the elasticity. So in this plasticity property, so here when a load is applied, it will changes its shape, but it will not regain its original shape when load is removed. So this is the property of the plasticity. So here it undergoes the permanent deformation. Materials used in machines are never allowed to behave in a plastic manner. So here plasticity material have a permanent deformation, and when materials are used in machines, so when a material is used in a machine, it will never allowed to behave in a plastic manner. సో ఏదైనా మెటీరియల్ మనం మిషన్స్లో కనుక యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాము అని అంటే ఆ యూజ్ చేస్తున్నటువంటి ఆ మెటీరియల్స్ యొక్క నేచర్ అనేది ప్లాస్టిక్ నేచర్ అనేది ఫాలో అవ్వకూడదు. So that is the plasticity property. So example for the plasticity is nothing but gold, lead, copper. So these are the three examples for the plasticity. So coming to the ductility. So it is the property by which materials can be drawn into wires. So when load is applied, so ductility property means when load is applied, it will drawn into wires. So when load is increased, so it will, material will be undergoes deformation and it will forms in a wires. So that is the ductility property. So that nature is called as ductility nature. So ductility materials have the ability to flow. So here a special character is there for the ductility material, that is it has the ability to flow. Example, copper wires used in elastic cables. Aluminium, which is a soft material, is also a ductile material. So here copper wires are the examples. So that copper wires are used in the elastic cables. So that is the first example. And aluminium, which is a soft material, is also a ductile material. So that is the ductility material. So coming to the stiffness. So stiffness, it is the ability of material to resist deformation under the action of loads. So when load is applied, so when load is applied, so in case of stiffness property, the material will have some resistance. It offers a resistance while deformation is occurred when load is applied. So that is the stiffness. So when load is applied, it is the ability of materials to resist deformation under the action of loads. So under the action of loads, there is an ability of material to resist deformation. So that is the stiffness property. Units for the stiffness is Newton per mm or kilonewton per mm. So generally stiffness property is mostly considered in the design of springs. So formula for the stiffness is K equal to load by deflection, nothing but W by delta. So example for the stiffness is springs. So next, brittleness. It is the ability of a material by which it can break or develop cracks when removed. So here it is a brittle nature. So when a material can break or develop cracks when loaded, so that is the brittleness property. So brittle materials can break without any prior or warning, or they can develop cracks. So there is no any information. So there is no any information. So it will gets warning. So without any warning, it will break or it will develop cracks. So that is the brittleness property. So example for the brittleness property is wood, concrete and cast iron. So coming to the malleability, so here it is the property by which materials are able to be beaten or converted into thin sheets. So here a material will be converted into thin sheets. So materials which are elastic are better in malleability. So elastic nature, a material consists of elastic nature, it has a better malleability property. So example for the malleability is steel, copper, aluminium, brass, bronze, etc. are the malleable materials. So coming to the hardness, it is the property of a material by which it can resist scratches, marks, wear and tear. So for the material, when load is applied, it will be resistance. So by the scratches, marks, wear and tear. So there is a no mark will not be occur. So no scratch will not be formed. There is a wear and tear. So that is the property of the hardness. This property is mostly preferred while designing components which slide one over the other. So when a material will slide one over the other, the hardness property will be possessed. So when designing the one slide over another material, so in that places hardness will be preferred. So example for the hardness property is diamond, graphite, talc, mild steel, etc. So that is the hardness. So coming to the toughness, so toughness is related to the impact load. So it is the property by which a material is able to resist shocks or impact loads. When a material is able to resist shocks or impact loads, so that property is known as toughness property. So impact loading refers to load falling from a height. So here already we have discussed this topic. So impact load topic. In impact load, a weight is dropped from a height, nothing but load. So load refers to impact loading refers to load falling from a height. This property is very useful in the design of springs. So toughness property is used in the design of springs. So example for the toughness is brass, mild steel. So this is the some regarding points about toughness. So coming to the creep, it is the ability of materials to resist high or extremely high temperature, or creep is the property of a material by which it develops the slow deformation and strain with time due to constant stress. Because of creep, high amount of temperature stresses are developed. So due to creep, high amount of temperature stresses are developed. So in case of creep nature, it develops the slow deformation and strain with time due to constant strain. Due to constant strain, there is a slow deformation and strain also. So here high amount of temperature stresses are developed. So example for the creep is IC engines, boilers, steam turbines, furnaces required creep resistant materials. So these are the some of the examples for the creep. So coming to the fatigue, it is the property of a material to resist repeatable and fluctuating loads. So here for fatigue property, material will be resist to repeatable or fluctuating loads. This fatigue property will resist the repeatable loads or fluctuating loads. So this is the fatigue. So IC engines are constantly under fatigue. So fatigue failure is also occur. So this is about the fatigue. So from this mechanical properties of a material, this chapter is completed. So nothing but simple stresses and strains. So simple stresses and strains topic is completed due to the mechanical properties of a material. So next topic is shear force and bending moment. So that is the next chapter. So in next class, shear force and bending moment chapter will be started in the next class. So important problems are only discussing in the online classes. There is no unnecessary problems or no unnecessary topics. So listen carefully. Okay. So in next class, 6th chapter will be continued. So from the 6th chapter, first year engineering mechanics syllabus will be completed. Okay. So prepare well for the exams and study for the exams well. Okay. So in next month there is a semester exam you have. So that's why prepare well, study well, and keep notes at every member. Okay. Thank you.